Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Background Football Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Background Football Podcast, and today I'm going to be rebuilding / bolstering Arsenal's attack. Who do I think we should sign? Who are the realistic options for us? Because, we are really lacking something. It's a different type of player that we need, whether it be a striker, a left winger. I mean, we can probably all agree that right winger is pretty locked on in Saka, but the other two are kind of up for debate. A lot of Arsenal fans would like a striker, would like us to sign one in January. Is that going to be possible? I don't know. So I've got a few players that I would like to see at the club. Some maybe not that realistic. I don't know. I tried to do stuff that's a bit more realistic and that could happen. And so I'll start with like kind of the two obvious options, which are the two that most people will probably be thinking of, and that is Gyökeres and Isak. Gyökeres, probably one of the hottest strikers in the world right now, sought after probably by, I think, everyone. Everyone would probably love to have him. He's started the season brilliantly. 23 goals, 16 in the league. He's an absolute killer. He's got everything you need in a striker. Quick, powerful, just lethal in front of goal. And I think he could have the capacity to not feel the pressure. If he moved for a big fee, which it would be a big fee, probably something 70 to 90 million if he was going to move. And this is someone that Sporting would not want to lose for cheap. And it's unlikely to happen in January anyway. Summer, I don't know. I'd love him personally. I think he'd be great. Like, I love Havertz, but he's not going to score 20 plus goals a season. I think he would still have a role in the squad, in and around, used as a utility player, as a backup, and just a good squad player. But Gyökeres is someone who I think would guarantee you 20-25 goals. With the amount of chances we create and the amount of chances we miss as well, like, it'd be a no-brainer for me. The one kind of con is that he's never done it in a top 5 league, but I kind of doubt that he would flop, to be honest. He's done it in the Champions League, Europa League, at decent levels, but no, it's something that you'd have to keep an eye on, because he smashed the Championship and he's smashed the Portuguese League. It's not exactly, the top competitions. And then moving on, Isak, one of my favourite strikers in the league at the moment. He's got that kind of just flair. He reminds me a little bit of Henry. Some of his attributes remind me of Henry. Like, he's tall, skillful, quick. Kind of makes you wanna watch, if that makes sense. He's Prem ready. And yeah, I'd love Isak. I think he'd be a very, very good option as well. Would probably cost even more than Gyökeres, because Prem ready, Newcastle, he's one of their best players, so they're not gonna let him go for cheap. 75 to 100 million probably, if not more. But no, I think if you added him into our side, it'd be fucking amazing. Could play on the left as well, offer cover for Martinelli, Trossard. I think he'd be a brilliant signing. And again, I don't think this is going to happen in January. I don't think it may not happen at all, but it's kind of my wish list of who I would like. And Isak is right at the top. 5 goals, 2 assists in the league this season. No, sorry, not in the league. 4 in the league, which is not actually the best return, but we all know how talented he is as a player. My one issue with him is his injury record. It's not great. So that would be something that you'd have to keep an eye on. And moving on to some of the less kind of obvious ones. Omar Marmoush. Now, he's exploded onto the scene this season with Frankfurt. Frankfurt? Yeah, Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. 11 goals, 7 assists already. 25, Egyptian. Yeah, he can play up front or on the left. Quick, deadly in front of goal. He's a handful. So it would definitely be an option to kind of a cheaper option to look at. And from what I've seen, I really like the way he plays. He's kind of quite direct and he's got a good shot on him. Is this one realistic? I don't know, because I've seen the Liverpool links and I've seen he's looking like he's gonna be the replacement for Salah, which kind of makes sense. So yeah, he'd be a bit cheaper, 35 to 50 million probably. But the one issue, he's only really done it for this season. He had a decent season last season, 12 goals in the league. That's a respectable return. But, can he keep it up? I'd like to see how. I'd like to see where his numbers are at the end of the season. But anyway, moving on to the last big hitter, I'll say, Benjamin Sesko. Arsenal tried to sign him in the summer. It fell through for whatever reason. He's quite raw, 22, 23, I think. So there'd be a lot of room to improve, but he's got all the physical attributes that I'd really, really like to see. He's quick, strong. I think he registered the quickest sprint speed in the Euros as well. So he's quick. 6'4", 6'5", Haaland type build. And he's not the complete article, and I think there'd be room to grow. Of course, he's got 6 goals this season. 6 goals this season, yeah. So I'd really like him personally. I think you could bed him in a little bit more. He wouldn't expect to be starting every single game, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But no, he'd still cost a lot. He'd be 50 or 60 million. No, I like him. And hopefully we can do something with one of the 4 that I've already said. Gyökeres or Isak, probably most people's preferences. But I still quite like the idea of Sesko. And then other players I quite like, just to throw them in there. I really like João Pedro, Adingra and Minter at Brighton. I think they're really exciting, especially the 2 wingers, Minter and Adingra. Really quick. They're just dangerous. They're both quite raw as well, and it would be a thing of they'd be sitting on the bench and coming on, and you could bed them in a little bit, and they wouldn't necessarily be expecting to start straight away, which again I don't think that's a bad thing. And João Pedro, I just really like the way he plays. He's got that sharp finish about him. He's quick and he's quite big. I quite like him. And then I've been seeing these rumours last few days. Arda Güler, obviously Turkish wonder kid at Real Madrid. Now, I quite like the idea of this. I can't imagine they're going to let him go permanently, but if it was on a 6-month loan in January, I quite like the idea of that. Just another option in attack I think we could definitely do with. And, we've got a history of doing business with Real Madrid, Ozil, Odegaard. So there's obviously some sort of relationship there. I quite like the idea of that. I think he needs more minutes, and it's hard when you're when you're up against Rodrigo, Vinicius, Mbappe, Bellingham. So and last few, Delap. I don't know. It might be too early to say that, but he started the season very, very well, and I do like the look of him. He's a handful. I'm not sure he'd be up to scratch, but I'd like to see if he can keep it up till the end of the season, end it with 10 to 15 goals. I think that'd be very, very respectable. Playing for a poor Ipswich side. And last one, I probably should have put this a bit further up, but Nico Williams, I fucking love him. quick, direct. It's just dangerous. I think he'd just give something else that we don't have. But he's probably going to go to Barca. I imagine so. He'll probably stay in Spain. He'd probably cost 50, 60 million. Again, I would love another player. All right, I'll probably wrap it up there. Mikel, if you're watching, please sign one of these guys. And yeah, thanks you guys. See you next time.